And just Nary's laptop decided to restart. Good morning and welcome. We are live from Springfield. So as folks are adding in the chat, kind of why you joined the 9:30 call, kind of how long you've been joining the 9:30 call, just give us some information in the chat that we can share with our folks. And I guess I'll turn it over to somebody in the conference room. Maybe if a state wants to go and share kind of your state, who you are, and what you've learned so far in this 24 hours that we've been together. Oh, you're on mute, Leanne.
Can you hear me?
Go. We got you.
Oh, I didn't know we were going to start this quickly. So I'm Leanne Barrett, and I'm in Rhode Island. I am here with three other folks from Rhode Island. We, with 8 organizations total, run the Right from the Start campaign, which is an early childhood campaign. And you can go to Right from the Start RI. I know we have actually 20% of the people in Rhode Island work in Massachusetts. So we have a strong connection to Massachusetts. And, I just love this meeting because whenever we go testify at the State House, they want to know what is Massachusetts doing and what is Connecticut doing because of the competitiveness. And so paying attention to paid family leave, what's going on with childcare, Head Start, earned income tax credits, like another one. We have like a half of your earned income tax credit in Rhode Island. But Amy suggested, so we have a win, which I know you guys are starting on now, but the Childcare for Childcare Educators, we have finished our first year of our pilot. It was funded, actually, the Speaker of the House put it in a budget amendment after we had a press conference about lack of attention to the staffing crisis. He put in $3 million for raising Head Start and early Head Start teacher wages so we could reopen classrooms, and he did this Childcare for Childcare Educators pilot, which was not capped at participation, but they did cap household income. So you have to be in a low income household, 300% of poverty or less, and it was time limited. So we just got it extended in this last year for year 2. So we're started year 2, and it is working. Like the providers like it. About half of all centers have at least one staff person participating, and it's about 5% of family child care providers who are participating. And we're working really hard right now to try to get it. And the speaker has said to us, can you please try to get more things in the governor's budget so I don't have to add them? So we're working really hard to get this in the budget and doing a sign-on letter to ask the governor to at least remove the sunset date. So it's a permanent program in state law. And then we'll work to remove the household income limit, which we want to do. And we also are going to try to add early intervention, but we're in the middle of actually doing this right now. The deadline for sign-ons for the letter that's going to the governor just finished. And we are delighted that we got, in addition to our usual early childhood folks, we got a Chamber of Commerce to sign on to this. And we got the AFT and the NEA and SEIU and the AFL-CIO to sign on to this. So, and they can see this because teachers of all ages of kids struggle with paying for childcare. So if we can get this going, it's really like a possible pathway towards universal access. So we're excited about that. And we wish you good luck. And every win you get in Massachusetts helps us because we have to compete with you.
Friendly competition, right, Leanne? Thank you so much. It's always so interesting to hear kind of what issues are bubbling up in other states, what is similar, and even as we all operate in our own state context, to kind of hear how other states are handling it, with the wins, the struggles. I'm just going to go to chat for a minute while we get another state teed up. Thank you, JC added. We had advocates from Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Vermont, New Hampshire, and New York in the room. And we hopefully will have follow-up 9:30 calls featuring each of these states in depth. We've heard from Connecticut, we've heard from their parents' council, we've heard from their commissioner, we've heard about their quality initiatives in Connecticut. So open invitation to other advocates for joining the call. And Brian said they rebranded it Northeast to include New York. Great. And oh, we have a Mookie Betts. This is a great space to learn, grow, and advocate on the issues that are important in ECE. The call keeps me informed about many topics related to the well-being of children and families. I love connecting with others. It's an excellent place to connect and get information. I'm an intern in Wisconsin with Strategies for Children. Of course, now I can't read the chat. Okay, I'll come back to that one. It's a great way to keep the pulse on the sector and in progress. I also saw that it was somebody's first 9:30 call, so that's often the case. So even though we started in March of 2020, people are always joining, and we're going to talk more about the logistics after the call. But always, there's always opportunities for anyone to join. All right, do we have another state ready to share?
Yes.
All right.
Rita from Maine. I'm ready to go.
Okay, Rita.
Okay. So thanks so much for having us. I have been hearing about the 9:30 calls for years at meetings with Amy. So it's a pleasure to be with all of you. Again, I'm Rita Furlow. I'm the Senior Policy Analyst at the Maine Children's Alliance. And I am part of another Right from the Start coalition in Maine. And I'm here with my colleagues from NACI and from the CAPS and from Council for Strong America, Educate Maine, and we are excited to be here. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some work that we've been doing in Maine that you guys might be interested in. So during the pandemic, our Office of Child and Family Services began salary supplements to help members of the workforce. It started as $200 a month, and it was very successful. Every program in the state was not limited to folks who were only participating in the subsidy. And it was so successful, we, as part of our coalition, went to the administration, the legislature, and said, we need this to continue. We need this to as a basic level of support to encourage folks to stay in this field and support them. So that happened. We've been using state money for that. And then in 2023, we again went to the legislature as part of a broader package and said, okay, we want you to double that investment. And that also happened. So now those monthly supplements are tiered, and they're in a range depending upon where you are, you know, in terms of education and experience. But it's been very successful, and we feel like it's helping folks to hang on. And in the long run, we're in the midst of doing a cost of care study, and that's kind of our next step. But want to share that with everyone. And thanks so much for having us.
Thanks so much, Rita. Back to the chat. And now I understand the Mookie comment was yes. I don't know if people saw, and I know we have New York in the room, and we're not going to blame New York for those two fans, but they tried to grab the ball out of Mookie's glove. Can't do that. Okay, back to the chat. Melora Boston, we've been here more or less in the beginning of March 2020. The 9:30 call connects us across our early childhood sectors. It's our grounding. It's a great way to keep pulse on the sector and progress, also to get positive vibes in the work. I like learning from a variety of stakeholders, partners, and perspectives in the field. I'm an ECE advocate in Wisconsin, wanting to learn how to continue to build relationships and hear about what other states are doing. This arena keeps me informed about issues and connected to the fabulous advocates in our field. I've been back on the call since its inception back in the spring of 2020. That's Kim Dion, who's our R&R connection. And then, okay, the 9:30 call has been a great place for me to keep up to date on what's happening on the ground. Sometimes I feel so out of the loop, and not to mention the community feeling, hearing providers bounce issues off each other and hear and learn different perspectives of others. EEC needs all the brain collaboratives it can get, so I appreciate this call. I've been here since April 2023. And I'll just say, we have a lot of area code talk. So right now in Springfield, we are in the 413, but one of the things that Zoom has made it be possible is to have this really be a statewide call. And as you can see, other states are joining. Okay, who's the next state up? It's hard to hear if the state is talking. Oh, the owl camera is moving.
Hey everyone, can you see us on the owl? It's a little bit weird, but
Yeah.
I'm Michelle Fay with Voices for Vermont's Children,
And I'm Sarah Kenny with Let's Grow Kids in Vermont.
so I guess the update about what's been going on in the state, I can talk about kind of everything other than early childhood education. We've been doing a lot, and Sarah will handle that. We've been doing a lot around economic security, child tax credits, establishing a baby bond, which is not yet funded, but at least exists. Trying to work on passing an equitable universal paid family leave program, family and medical leave program. What else? We've been really involved in child welfare program reform and oversight. I'm missing. What's that? Housing. Oh yeah, sorry, thanks. Yeah, oh right. So housing is a huge issue in Vermont. We have one of the highest, or is it the highest right now? Highest child homelessness rate in the country. Really bad situation that we're all trying to work together to fix. And in terms of prenatal, we are working on sunrising a profession of birth doulas and access to birth doulas for everyone on Medicaid.
And we had Allie Richards on the 9:30 call back when the legislation, when you were expecting a veto from the governor. And she joined us that morning and we all kind of tuned in to see what happened with the legislation in Maine. So thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
And we're gonna all hear from Maine later today about the story of Let's Grow Kids. So we're excited for that. Is there another state ready to go?
We were just going to say a quick word about Vermont and the childcare
Oh,
bill.
great.
So,
Keep going.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you all got to hear the morning before the governor vetoed, I think, right? And which
Yes.
he did. He followed through and vetoed the bill, and the legislature overrode him very, very handily. And so we're now a year into implementation of the childcare bill, and it's going remarkably well. It's really exciting. And so thanks to all of you for helping to inform that process. And we've been hearing similar struggles all over the region. So thanks.
Great. Thank you. Who's next?
Okay, Connecticut, I've got folks from Connecticut Voices for Children, from SEIU, representing the family child care workers, and I'm Merrill Gay from the Connecticut Early Childhood Alliance. We've been doing a similar weekly call since March of 2020. And we are working on childcare, child tax credit, trying to get health care for family child care providers, trying to change our family child care rules to make it possible to have a large family child care program instead of moving into the center-based licensing approach. Yeah, working on trying to expand our child care subsidy program to have continuous enrollment and instead of the wait list that we always seem to develop. All right, let me move on to the next person. New York.
Thanks, Meryl.
Hey everyone, this is Mackenzie with Moms Rising, chatting about New Hampshire. Wait, what do I have to do?
You're good.
Oh my gosh. You don't want to give me a stage.
We can hear
Give me
you,
a mic.
Mackenzie.
All right.
Oh, there you are.
Ask
Yeah.
for it. I haven't worked on my type 5, my comedy set, y'all. Should I use this mic?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Hey, hi everyone. New Hampshire has been working on a lot of childcare changes over the past couple of years. We passed in 2023 a lot of substantial changes to our state's childcare scholarship program. And one of the things we did in the biennium, and one of the things that New Hampshire tends to do is we're worried about commitment. We have commitment issues. So what we need to do this year is go back and make those changes permanent, which will be a challenge. We have been also working a lot on maternal health and not decoupling those two things. So we were successful in 2023 passing a large maternal health package called the Momnibus. And this year we're working in coalition to bring new pieces of legislation into that piece, you know, and also braiding it into our early childhood work. And so thinking about ways that we can reduce maternal health disparities for moms, making sure that they're screened for mental health, depression, and well child visits, making sure that substance abuse treatment, there's no copay for moms. And so just really tackling some of those maternal health challenges in the state. What else, friends, that we've got going on in early childhood? We've got a funding crisis, really. And so in New Hampshire, hearing from a lot of our colleagues, like we've got the revenue to support, you know, a child tax credit or an earned income tax credit, or you know, child healthcare for childcare providers. We had a pilot program this past year, or we're about to do a pilot program for childcare for childcare workers. And so looking at what that looks like in New Hampshire, but New Hampshire doesn't have the revenue to sustain a lot of these really important, necessary things for the field. And so we're continuing to try to be flexible and innovative about the ways that we can bring new dollars to the table, new revenue streams, ways that we can bring in some more federal funding and take better advantage of it, I think is something that we're interested in doing. And, you know, hopefully learning and bringing some of the positive changes from you all into the Wild West of New Hampshire. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Mackenzie. And I think New York is left. Classic. New York, Massachusetts. So they figured out to come up to the table. So thank you, because yes, the OWL camera is searching for speakers. And I guess also folks who are listening from the conference, if you have any questions that you want to ask the 9:30 callers, you can either put it in chat or ask, because we'll have some time after New York.
All right. Hi, everyone. Pete Nabozny with the Children's Agenda in New York. We have a lot of state advocates working on lots of different topics, including childcare and child welfare and a whole host of other issues. But one thing I want to highlight for this conversation, because we haven't talked about it as a larger group here in the room, is that New York is in the midst of developing recommendations to cut child poverty by 50% over the next 10 years. There was a bill passed several years ago, sort of mandated the state put together a process and a plan to reduce child poverty by 50%. I'm an appointee to that council, and we've been pretty active over the past 2 years at working through different proposals and getting all sorts of research done by the Urban Institute and others to try to figure out what that plan needs to look like. And we are at the cusp of voting on a set of recommendations to the governor that would be public and hopefully build some real pressure for the state to implement those things. And without going to all the details of the plan is it's comprehensive. It includes a large expansion in the state's child tax credit, a creation of a state housing access voucher program that would supplement the federal program that we have, an increase in public assistance benefits for families, a bunch of other reforms to our public assistance program, and an expansion of basically a SNAP program to cover families that are currently excluded based on immigration status. And so those things together would, if enacted and indexed to inflation over time, would reduce child poverty by 51%, and would be an enormous accomplishment for New York, which, despite being a very wealthy state, has one of the higher rates of child poverty in the country. And so we're cautiously optimistic that we'll be able to kind of get these recommendations out and then really start building advocacy efforts to get them done in the state, because they do have quite a hefty price tag. But I think, as everyone knows, the cost of leaving this many children in poverty is far greater than the cost of any program that can lift them out. So it's exciting work in New York right now.
Thank you so much. That is exciting work and so great to hear. Do you have any comment on the Yankees?
Let's go Mets.
I know we often are saying beat LA, not go LA. I know that Rosemary and Clarence are on call. I see you Yankee fans.
Go Yankees.
In our midst. So any 9:30 callers, did we get all the states? I think we did. So if there's any 9:30 callers that want to share either what you put in chat or kind of why you come to the 9:30 call, why you came today. It'd be great to hear from folks live. Don, Jeanette, why do you come to the 9:30 call?
I try to stay silent, like
I understand.
let other people speak instead of me, but I don't like silences. I've been on the 9:30 call since a few months in. I think you all started in March. I joined, I think, in the summer. And like some other providers have said, it started off really wanting to know what was happening with COVID because information was power. And we really needed as much as we could to keep everything functional during those early days. And then I live and breathe for these 30 minutes. I hate when we dropped Fridays.
Yeah.
I have an alarm on my phone that goes off to remind me to prioritize this. I'm in Massachusetts, but once called in from Bryant Park in New York City. And I think I called in from another country at one
I
point.
think you did too, yes.
Sorry, but it's just critical. I think I try to be a bridge between what's happening on the ground and bringing, shining a light on both the positives and the challenges that providers are experiencing, that the changes and the trends that we're seeing, especially post-pandemic, and bring those to the attention of folks who have more power than I do currently to make changes for all of us.
Thanks, Donna. Edna added in the chat, I've been in this field for over 20 years, but the knowledge and connections I have gained in just 4 years, the 9:30 call, far surpassed my earlier years. It has truly been my eyes and wings to the world of early education, connecting me to the incredible educators and advocates. The 9:30 call is one of my daily highlights. So
Hey, Amy,
we
if
also,
you have a minute,
go
sorry,
ahead.
if there's a
Right,
minute, we have one or two
room?
more people in the room. I
Yes,
don't want to
great.
have you go over, but Colleen, do you want to come and talk? All right. Yeah, well, if
Thank
you want to
you.
be seen, it's important to come over here. So
And
the
that's
owl is going to the
Helene
speaker.
Stebbins, who's the executive director of the Alliance for Early Success, who we are grateful to. So thank you, Helene, and hello, Colleen.
Hey there, I don't know where to look. I guess I'll look at the real life audience. I've actually been on the 9:30 call before. I'm Colleen DeWicki from the Boston Fed. And when people wonder why the Boston Fed is in a space, it's not to share any updates about interest rates. We sorted you out a couple of months ago, but we also care about building an inclusive and vibrant New England economy. And we work with local leaders doing place-based efforts, either at a city level in most of Southern New England places or rural regions as well. Pilot leaders for equitable local economies. I think many of the people on the call know Meritess McLean and Beth Robbins in Fitchburg, Massachusetts, and are really excited to expand our work across the region, supporting leaders doing place-based work, trying to figure out how they can contribute to making economies work better through childcare and early childhood. So really glad to be here and see many of you again. Thank you.
Thanks, Colleen. Any other folks in the room? This has been a very exciting call. We often find that people trying to push like an hour and a half presentation into 30 minutes, but we have 2 more minutes, which is a lifetime.
I gotcha. I got 2 more minutes if you want me to
Great.
give it to you. Okay. I've been looking at sort of what people have been saying, and I was just going to give you highlights or quotables from the meeting. So these are things that have been said by people that might be helpful to others in the 9:30 call. One is, unfiltered advocacy is more effective than talking points. What would it take to move from scarcity to abundance? You can't know what abundance is until you feel it. 5-year stable funding to build the structure and governance is essential for coalition building. Respect is key, listening to others' perspectives and respecting them. And then finally, we will never hold a vote. We only do things we agree on. So those are just a few quotables from the meeting. If anybody has others that I missed. Oh, Morgan's got one. Come on up, Morgan.
And thank you, Helene. We would love to have that list. Somebody in the chat has already, we'll put it in the 9:30 call follow-up folder, which we have.
Last minute, stop loving the problem.
That's right.
Disrupt, dismantle, and do differently. Yes, this came from Amy for all of you in Mass.
Came from Sterling. Yes.
If I don't say it, it's not true. You need to say it. Does it matter on Monday morning? What gives you clues today that will help for the future? Build bridges, not gates.
We often say that the 9:30 call is the inspiration that we didn't know that we needed. And this is our first time with a conference room full of 40 people, tuning in at the same time, giving lightning round updates. We so appreciate it. Special thanks to JC, who is our program officer for the Alliance, who helped us figure out the technology today. JC and Titus did a sound check and technology check. But we will save the chat and share the chat. We will invite each of the states to come for a full 30 minutes to give the updates, because I'm sure people have questions. It's very inspiring to be with other people. We often say that we are with our people when we are at these meetings with the Alliance for Early Success, which is really important for us as we are kind of working on the same challenges, different contexts, same context across the country, and especially in this Northeast region. So thank you everyone for joining us. And we will, what is today, Wednesday? We will see the 9:30 call tomorrow with Jerry Cobb from the Pritzker Initiative will join us tomorrow morning. Have a great day and good night from Springfield.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks.
Well, yeah.